Hey dolls! If there's one thing that most, if not all of us doll collectors can agree on about our hobby, it's that it's expensive. These days, I feel like it's getting harder and harder to find dolls for reasonable prices. So in today's video, I put together, how many things? 7, I think? Yeah, 7. So in this video, I put together 7 tips that I use or that I think are helpful to save money on doll collecting. These techniques are just what work for me personally. This isn't a definitive guide or anything to saving money, but yeah, hopefully you can still get something from this video and it can help you out in some way. So let's get into it. My first tip, and this is probably the one that's helped me the most, is setting a limit on myself. So whether that means a price limit or an amount of dolls, I set a monthly limit on how much I'm adding to my collection. You can customize this limit to whatever works for you. So like, for example, you could say, oh, I'm gonna spend $100 a month on dolls. So every month that could look different. One month that could be adding one expensive holy grail doll to your collection, right? And then the next month it could be 4 cheaper dolls, you know, something like that. Or if it's a matter of quantity, you're getting too many dolls, a way to cut back on that would be saying something like, I'm gonna add 2 dolls to my collection every month. Or you could even set a range, for example, like 1 to 3 dolls every month or something like that. There's a lot of ways that you could go about it. Do whatever works for you, you know? And you can also decide how strict you want to be on that limit. Are you gonna give yourself a little wiggle room, or is that limit going to be exact and non-negotiable? Like I said, there's a lot of room to customize this and make it work for you. This limit might feel hard to stick to at first, but with time and dedication, it will get easier. At least it did for me. And honestly, I've really slowed down on buying dolls this year in general. I mean, I haven't bought a doll in like months, I'm gonna be honest. But when I was buying dolls more often, it felt second nature to me to fall within this limit because I've been doing it for so long. It does get easier, at least in my experience it did. My second tip is to collect what you want. Now, I know this might sound simple on the surface, but what I mean more specifically is try to let go of the pressure of having the newest dolls, the rarest doll, or adding dolls to your collection for completion's sake, something like that. Or you see a doll that's usually really expensive that you don't want, but you see it for a good deal. Like that happened to me, for example. One time I was browsing through dolls on eBay. I saw this Puma Barbie in a lot with 3 other dolls for like $40, I think. I really thought about getting her because she's worth more than that. Like just by herself, she's worth more than that. But at the end of the day, I didn't really want that doll and I didn't want any of the other dolls in the lot. So why would I get it? I would only be buying it because it was a good deal. I'm not gonna turn around and resell it, and I would rather the dolls go to someone who actually wants them. So I didn't get the dolls. And at first I felt bad, but then I thought about it and I was like, I don't even want them. Of course, if you want a rare doll or a new collection of dolls or something like that, if you want it because you genuinely like the doll, that's one thing, like go for it, obviously. But, you know, if you're only getting it because it's rare and because, oh, it's only on Mattel Creations for like a limited time and I feel like I have to get it, or because it seems like all your favorite doll influencers have this new Barbie and maybe you feel like you have to have it too, at that point is when I feel it's good to reflect and maybe don't get the doll, maybe save your money. So basically what I'm saying is try to stay authentic to what you actually want in your collection. This next technique sort of... My phone's ringing. Sorry. This next tip sort of plays off of what I was saying in my last technique. So tip number 3 is to find your specific niche or focus in your collection. Releasing the pressure to buy dolls for any other reason besides you wanting them is a great start, but it also really helps to know what exactly you want. So for example, do you have a favorite era or time period, decade of Barbie? What else? Do you have some favorite face molds? Maybe you really like Barbie movies, so you want to focus your collection on Barbie movie dolls? I don't know. The possibilities are endless here. Personally, I really like dolls from the early 2000s and late 90s, so a lot of dolls in my collection are from that time period. Not all of them, but a lot of them. I also tend to gravitate towards articulated dolls, just because I like doing photo shoots and making videos with them, stuff like that. I like unusual looking, quirky, weird, unconventional Barbies, I guess. So, with all of those things in mind, the majority of my collection consists of rebodied and or customized one-of-a-kind Barbies, and I love them! I love them! I'm so grateful for my collection. Anyway, yeah. That reminds me, I still have to do an updated doll collection and room tour video. I really want to do that. Maybe I should do that soon. But anyway, finding your niche, finding your specific focus is going to help you eliminate tons of dolls that you don't actually want. And it may relieve some pressure to get dolls for any other reason besides you wanting them. Kind of like what I was talking about in my last tip. For me, finding my niche has helped me save time finding dolls because I don't really need to bother looking at newer dolls as often in the store. A lot of dolls that are sold in the stores are not very articulated. Let's be honest. Like, respectfully, there are some, but overall, I don't feel the need to be scouring the shelves of the toy aisle every week, you know? And because I have a really good idea of what I like, what I want in my collection, it's easier for me to browse for dolls online too, because I know what search terms to put in, stuff like that. It saves me a lot of time. My fourth tip is to go thrifting. There are a lot of benefits to thrifting dolls. It is so much fun, first of all, okay? It's like a fun little adventure. You never know what you're gonna find. I found some of my favorite dolls through thrifting. Like, I would have never known about these dolls, but then I see them on the shelf for like $1, $2. That's the other amazing thing about thrifting. You can find dolls for like stupid cheap, okay? I have found some incredible deals on dolls. I found some of my absolute favorite dolls in my collection through thrifting, and I got them for such a good deal. So yeah, I would highly suggest giving thrifting a try. You could discover a doll that you absolutely love that you would otherwise never have known about. Or you might happen to stumble upon a Barbie that is on your wish list at a thrift shop. That could happen. You really never know what you could find. That's so exciting, isn't it? I also recommend checking out your local garage sales, estate sales, things like that. Just like thrifting, you really don't know what you're gonna get, and to me, that's part of the fun. And again, you can find dolls for so cheap. Tip number 5. If there are dolls that you don't want anymore, try selling them secondhand. So this is more of a way to make money back on your doll collection as opposed to saving money, but I think it still applies here. Just because you're not losing as much money on your dolls, if that makes sense. Go through your collection, see if there are dolls that you don't really use, that you don't care about as much, that you don't really want. Maybe you have a more sought after doll that could get you a pretty penny back. Even if you don't have any dolls that typically sell for a lot, getting rid of multiple dolls could add up. And if you don't want the doll anymore, what's the point of it taking up space in your collection when you could have room for more dolls that you care more about, you know? At least that's what I think. I buy most of my dolls secondhand, most of them online. A lot of people buy their dolls online. There's a market for it. Tip number 6 is specific to when you're buying dolls online or on apps like eBay or Mercari, stuff like that. A lot of times when you buy things on eBay or Mercari, things like that, you have the option to make an offer on the item that is being sold. This doesn't apply to everything that's being sold on these sites, but if you see something costs blank amount or best offer, you may as well try offering a bit cheaper of a price. There's no harm in trying to get a little discount. In my experience, most sellers have been happy to accept my offer or make a counter offer. Keep in mind, they want to make a sale, so they'll probably be excited to see someone showing interest in their product. At least I'd like to think so. I mean, I don't sell things online, so like I guess I wouldn't know, but I would think, right? Tip number 7. If you can, avoid making impulse purchases. Wait on that doll that you want. If you can't find the Barbie you want for a good price, be patient. It's not like the doll will never show up again. In most cases, you know, there are instances where it's a one-of-a-kind doll, stuff like that. But for the most part, you can probably wait. And I get that that might be hard, especially if it's a rare doll that's not really sold online all too often. I think with cases like that, I mean, I get it. So it's best to use your best judgment there. Like if it comes to rent or Barbie, maybe choose rent, like respectfully. In general, if you see a doll that you want and it's too expensive for you at the moment, just wait, be patient, see how the price changes. If you're buying the doll on like Walmart, Target, Amazon, something like that, sales happen all the time, like just randomly, I feel like. So be on the lookout for that. Also, a benefit of waiting to get new dolls is that they'll go on clearance eventually, a lot of times. Like one time I bought Barbie Extra number 10 pretty shortly after she was released. I paid full price for her, but then shortly after, I think it was like a few months, I saw her, I think it was at Walmart. She was like $9. I remember being so salty. Looking back, there was no rush to get that Barbie. I could have easily waited and gotten her for less than half the price. So, lesson learned. If you're buying dolls secondhand on like eBay or Mercari, definitely compare your options before deciding on which specific listing to go ahead and buy. For example, I've seen a lot of rebodied fashionistas go for a lot of different prices. I've seen the exact same fashionista Barbie go for $60 from one seller and then maybe $30 from a different seller. Like it really depends. So make sure you're well informed, make sure you've done your research and compared your options before deciding on your final purchase. And finally, here's a little bonus tip that I'm literally just thinking of right now. Something that helps me save money on dolls and narrow down what I'm going to be buying is I try not to get dolls that look similar to one another. So I try not to have too many dolls with the same face mold, for example, and I know there's a lot of variations. Just because two dolls have the same face mold doesn't mean they look the same, but you know what I'm getting at. Like, in general, if two dolls have a lot of the same features, personally, I'm really only gonna want one of them. I just try not to get dolls that look too similar to each other, and that's really helped. That's a little something extra that's helped me not buy as many dolls. All right, so those are all of my tips for you today. Hopefully these techniques can help you to save a little extra money on your dolls. Again, these tips are just what work for me or things that I think are helpful. So hopefully you get something out of this. Let me know in the comments if you try any of these out. And also, I would love to know any tips that you have to save money on collecting dolls. Let's talk in the comments. Thank you so much for watching this video and being patient with me while I'm uploading videos. I know I've been a little inconsistent. I'm really doing my best here. Life is just super busy, but I'm still here, I promise. Not going anywhere. Anyway, thank you again for watching. Thank you for sticking around. If you like this video, please subscribe if you want and watch my YouTube original series Mind Games. Also follow me on Instagram at MillyWillowsDoll for doll photography and Barbie music covers. And I will see you in these videos right here. Bye!